Good evening, and welcome to episode of Carpet Python TV, sort of on the short notice side of things. Please tell me if let me just go to chat. So please tell me if you guys can hear me okay. I'm trying a new sound system here, my lav mic on the shirt here that you can't see. And let me just bring in yes, people can hear us. So let me bring Brent into the chat. So, oh, hang on, let me just dim some sound out. Sorry, I'm a little bit rough around the edges here. I haven't done this for a while, but let me just quickly shoot over to... good evening, Mr. Smith. How are you tonight?
Evening all, how are you?
Good. Welcome on the How Many Umthium show of Carpet Python. So we're almost the same size. I've actually worked out now. You can see me all right, hear me all right over there?
Yep, all clear this end, looking good. All technology bugs cleared out.
Yeah, there's a bit of a sound syncing issue. So sorry, yeah, it is going to be like that. So that's unfortunately what happens. Let me just try something here quickly. Minus.
You're coming through right at my end.
That's all that matters. I'm sure people can walk 50 milliseconds. Let's just try that. Let's try 850 milliseconds. It has to be just sort of in the right ballpark, you know. We're not working with a perfect system. So for those of you that don't know Brent's one of the guys in Sydney that's doing a bit of work with the granite and zebras and sorry, Brent, I'm just making sure everything's looking. So I sound a little bit distracted because I am.
Watching all the
Trying to make sure everything's going right. I'm already noticing something here that's out of whack, but I'm not going to screw around with that right now. I'll have to just maybe I can. I just need to put this over there. There we go. Now things are looking good.
Now the studio's happy.
Yeah, I thought I'd do a little bit of green screening here. So you know, it's a good job, I think. There's no patches filtering through there. We had you when we did our little test.
How is the green? Is the green working?
Yeah, it's working. You've got the Carpet Python liquid that you're drinking there tonight. Yeah.
Yes,
So
it's the new version of Carpet Python Powerade.
yeah, there's a few people saying Zach Zamak Dixon is there. Hello, Zach. Natika Natika Smith, yeah, the big beard, Zach the big beard, yeah, he's there. I just wanted to say we now admins on what's that group, Morelia Morphheads, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to go and join a group up there, it's called Morelia Morphheads Australia, I think. Now Brent runs an operation called KHP Reptiles. For those of you that don't know, if this is your first introduction to the Carpet Python TV cast, Brent's usually a usual installment in the whole thing. I've known Brent for quite a few years, through the thick and thin. Let's put it that way. And we've done some business. We help each other out here and there with a few bits and pieces. And yeah, we good. I would say we're good mates. You know, we've had our ups and downs, like all good friendships has. And
mostly because sometimes you're an asshole.
Yeah, but you know, I'm the industry, one of the industry assholes of old, you know. So I'm trying to be better, these days. So okay, you can hear me okay with your headset, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
You're a more refined hustler these days.
Yeah. Trying to stay on the good side of the law. So so I'm not sure. It's sort of we decided to just do this. Sort of on short notice. I was going to do it last night, but then I had my whole chat log crashed on setting the show up. So I was working that for about 6 hours of my life that I could never get back. And then I got an email this morning saying, "Oh, it's all fixed." So it was definitely not me. It was who I used to do the streaming, the live streaming. So Brent, for those of you that don't know who you are, just give us a little bit, just a quick, who is KHP Reptiles? What do you strive to do? What's your interests? Just give us a quick rundown again.
Just started as a hobby, like all of us do. Grew out of control. My oldest son, KHP is my three kids' name: Caden, Harrison, and Piper.
Yeah.
Caden started it when he was 8 or 9 years old, desperate, had to have a snake. Sheree and I were no way, no way. A year later, he's dragged us to reptile expos and check this out. Eventually, we bought our first two snakes. Caden's long gone, doesn't involve himself at all with anything. My other son Harrison helps out a fair bit,
Yeah.
and it just grew from something that I fell in love with and exploded. You know, it was the start of breeding. Awesome experience. Keep a few animals, buy some more animals, and before too long, it becomes taken over your life. You know, it really has. It's been a decade. It's been an awesome experience, and I love making my own things, chasing my own dreams. Animals that I started, you know, stuff I bought from you 7 or 8 years ago. You know, as pets, growing them up, using them to make other pets,
Yeah.
breeding visuals from those. That whole process of chasing something that's so far away when you start it. You know, in 7 years I can make this. You know,
Yeah.
time goes fast quick. You know, this life zooms along, and you look back and think, I remember dreaming of hatching, an albino granite, and now I've hatched them, and then I've bred from them now. It's awesome to sort of take those milestones on, and then look at the next 10 years of what you want to do. Looking forward. So.
And I have to say, it is exciting. It is at that point now where, like I think for you as well, you're doing a lot of triple and quadruple head animals. It's gonna be another 3 years before you might hit those, because the odds just get bigger and bigger. Luckily, carpet pythons have got big clutches, but that's why we if you're into snakes nowadays in the new era that we're living in, it's all about chasing the stuff that hasn't been made, and especially here in Australia, we've got such a diverse gene pool to work from. That I think we're privileged like that. Sorry, mate.
There's so much more coming too. It seemed like, I remember you saying 6-7 years ago, carpets are almost stale. There was really nothing happening that was super exciting, but there's certainly been a whole lot more roll through now. Silver pepper stuff, obviously the granite stuff's often going. There's Jared Sharp's working on the Enery stuff, melanistic. There's so many avenues still to come. There's combos we haven't even dreamed of yet.
Yeah.
And when you talk about chasing some of those triple head, quad head, 1 in 64, 1 in 256, odds to hit in clutches. There's some crazy chases to come yet. We're thinking it's hard at the moment hitting 1 in 32s, for Moonglows. That's just the beginning. There's going to be years of chasing combos down the track. So that's what I love. It's the endless possibilities. You can't be everything in this hobby. You can't be the expert in every single combo of anything. So you've really got to pick your market, and look at what you want to make and follow that path to what you want to build. You just can't be. I mean, you were probably as close to the king of carpets a decade ago, where you had almost anything that could exist. You were close to having the complete lineup, and I think that's just getting harder and harder now as time goes on. It'll be very, very hard to dominate and have every single gene that you can have. It's certainly the stuff that's overseas. It's very hard to get it here, obviously, but it's everything.
It's becoming harder to get the full set, and like you're into your sports cards now. You realize that there's in every hobby, there is a set that you have to, even me, I'm into the video stuff now, and every time a new camera comes out, I'm now going, I need that camera. Not because it's just because I need it in the set, I need to fill up the set now. So no matter how hard, the longer something goes on, the harder it is to get every model and every combination that you need, and it becomes more expensive as well. I think there's a lot of
up to date. It's one thing getting the latest stuff, but having the animals to take it to every direction at the same time. It's just so hard to stay current. There's just too many options now. It's very, very hard. So you really need to pick what you want to do and chase that dream. And it doesn't. There's so many avenues. With polygenic lines that there's 1,000 different combos of things that are still out there that need to be done. So
and that's a very good point. Especially with the fact that there's polygenics involved in these snakes. So because you can have a nice zebra, but there will always be a better polygenic nice zebra You know, you can
Yep.
have them dark or you can have them light, or you can have them in a reduced pattern or increased pattern. I mean, that's how
Yep.
polygenics work. It's crazy.
Yep.
So, a few more people. Emma says hello. Hi,
Hello,
Emma.
Emma.
Yeah, she's there.
Congrats,
Cor-
Emma and Zach
Corey,
tying a knot the other day.
Corey Gills there. Eddie Darnell.
Hey, Corey.
Yeah, Frizy and Nesty. Yes, there's a few people here saying hi. So there's a few people watching. Never underestimate polygenics, says Zach. Yes. Fellow snake keeper and monitor keeper now. You've been busy. You've been busy, Brent. You've built a mansion for your lace monitors in how long did that take you?
Whole deal 2 years. It was pretty solid 12 months, the first section of it, to it was finished, and I put the original mail boy in there, and
Yeah.
he's been in there since last summer. And then it's been an absolute frantic last 12 months to get the extension done, which I
Yeah.
finally finished yesterday and got the other three animals out there. So they're all out there. Like it's so much work. I will not do anymore. It's I want my life back. 2 years of every available second on that project. It's come up fantastic. I'm really happy with it. And
I looked at that. I went, that would be better than any television show ever. Just sitting out there every day in the
Yep.
summer, watching those monitors run around, because it's that big that there's so many options. I mean, I saw you. We'll have a look at. I've got some videos here and some photos that you sent through to me that we'll have a look at later in the show. And it's
seeing him
just
enjoy that, I worked so hard on that, and then yesterday and today is the first time I've actually sat down and relaxed and just watched them, come out, sit in the sun, climb, explore. They're out there just checking out every little thing in that enclosure. It's fantastic to see them use it and enjoy it. It makes it all worthwhile. But I am glad it's finished. It's a huge amount of work, so
have
it's
you
good to have my life back a little.
So have you noticed you've kept them now? Like, I mean, I used to keep laces as well, and I kept them out inside, and then I moved them outside into a big aviary.
Yep.
Have you noticed different behaviors just in the short time that you've had them outside? Did they do a lot of
Absolutely.
different
Like,
beasts in different environments?
I feel like they're just not an animal you can keep inside unless you have a gigantic enclosure. It's so hard to give them stimulation and area to climb and exercise. And honestly, my setup was not great for those animals inside because it was basically some snake enclosures turned into lacy houses. So they're 600 tall, which is way not enough.
Yeah.
You can put logs up there, they climb on it, but they're a climbing animal, and seeing them today, the way they were climbing around that mesh and up branches, like they've done it their whole life, their instinctive climbing abilities,
Yeah.
unbelievable to watch. But you don't see that in enclosures. It's so hard to create an area that works for them. It's if you had something that's 6 foot tall, and then 5 foot wide, that could probably work. But I just was so desperate to get them out because I felt like they were so in a box inside. Outside it's just a whole new world for them. So
Let me just see if I can. I just want to throw up those photos here, Brent. So bear with me. I just wanted to give people a sort of a over. You didn't send me a photo. Have you got a picture there on your? Are you busy using your phone now? I've got that video. Yeah. Let me just open this up and see if I can. It kept crashing on me this afternoon. Hang on. I just want to show people this video. So sorry, mate, you won't be able to see this, but it's just that video that you sent me of them basking outside in the sun.
yep.
Where's the
Some
desktop?
photos there I sent you yesterday, I think.
Yeah, I've added these here, so I'll just show people a quick video. So this is the cage with them outside, and I mean that is a fairly. How long is that cage? How wide is it, Brent?
The whole setup is 14 meters long.
Yeah.
It's split in half into two sections. It's about just over 2 meters tall. It's on a weird taper, so it's about 2 meters wide as well. Tapers off a little bit shorter down one end.
Yeah, and but it goes all the way down your fence line, doesn't it?
Yep, basically the whole side of our house, 14 meters, is that setup. It's we're just on a normal house block, and I use every centimeter of it for what I do. It's you've got to make the most of what's there. So I saw that spot and made it work.
You might have to go up now. You need to
Second story.
Second story, mate. Like I've
been
been
discussed.
I've been lucky to be at your house a couple of times. And you don't just let anybody go to your house. Like I mean, I appreciate that. Like you'd have to just go second level, move the family upstairs, and then just have
Yep.
basement.
Reptiles
I mean,
everywhere
that's you
else.
just have to do that now. Like it's just one of those things.
There's the swimming pool's next on the target list. It's been great. The kids have loved it.
Yeah.
They're growing up, so I reckon give it another few years' time, that thing will get leveled out and that'll become reptile area as well.
A couple of more people have joined. Glenn Thomas says hello.
Hello, Gleno.
Michelle Rumler says hi. Matt Loveridge, Southern Serpents. There's a few guys. So if you want to watch this show in a full glory, go watch it on YouTube. It's really a much better resolution on. Of course, Colin Schumacher. Hello, Colin. Is also saying hi. Hey, sweetheart. Yes. And a few people are saying awesome. But there was the first time I saw your first section of the lace monitor cage, I thought, I think you've improved in the second. This extension that you've done.
You learn fast. Like I made some mistakes. I studied a lot for the first one, and I wanted the water areas up off the ground.
Yeah.
Just they dig. You know what they're like. They destroy any area. So I wanted the water away from the substrate. There's a couple of fancy things I tried to do in the first one that some worked, some didn't.
Yeah.
But then the more time you keep them and observe things, I learned from those mistakes. And the second one made heated hide boxes in the retaining wall, built-in lay boxes with heating. It was just a more refined setup in that second thing. It's maintenance free now. That's what I love about it. It's its own whole system. Bar tipping the water out once a week and refilling it. It runs itself, which is what I want. I want it to be. I don't have to disturb them. I don't have to disturb them to feed them. They can just enjoy the environment. So.
Yeah. Tell me that you've got. Have you got a way to allow them access to the full run of that? Is there did you put a gate with a
internal door halfway, so I can open the whole thing up and let them all interact. I'm not exactly sure on the sexes of everything yet, so it's a hit and miss at the moment to see who's who and who's going to play nicely and separate. I have no plans to breed anything immediately. I'd love to breed them down the track for sure. I'd love to see those things hatching out of eggs and have that experience of trying to raise a few of those things. But it's not, it certainly wasn't the program. They're more pets for me than anything. I spend time before work and try and risk losing a finger every day trying to pat them on the chin, and it's more of a pet than an animal.
Yeah, we did joke about there hasn't been any injuries at the Smith house.
Not yet.
It will come. It's just the severity level that you have to sort of hope is on the lower scale. But you get whipped at some stage. The good thing is now with the size of the enclosure that you've got now, it gives them room to move away from each other. If they were in cramped spaces and it was two males or whatever, and they turn on each other one day, then they'd be. They would destroy each other. With a cage that size and with hides, it gives an opportunity for a submissive one to move away from a dominant animal.
Or for me to move away from them quickly.
It gives you a chance to run.
Like you see in that video where I tried to release one straight into the hide, and it comes straight back out to where I'm sitting, and I'm like, I'm out of here. See ya.
I've got that video. We'll have a look.
The roof.
But I think
I was like, yes, do not climb on me, please. Those claws are nasty when they're in a rush.
Yeah, you need one of those riot shields in there as well, with just a rubbish bin lid. They work as well, that's what you need. So
I had the red gloves on, so I wasn't going to lose a finger, but I did well. I got one scratch on the arm. That was it for moving 3 into there. I thought I was pretty happy with that. It could have went much worse.
You see some of these Americans with their lace. It's almost like a badge of honor that they pull their hands out and it's just blood everywhere. And I go, why would you do that? just don't know. Just leave them in there. Let them do their stuff. So there's so let's get into the stuff that we both we like lace monitors. We'll do a separate show. We'll see if we can get David Kirshner. I'd love to have a chat with David Kirshner. We did do a show at one stage on Reptile Radio with him years ago, and he is the guy to talk to when it comes to laces, especially. So tell us about how's your season been so far for your carpet python breeding?
just starting to kick off. 4 clutches out. Only started first one on the 13th of this month, so it's early days. It's a bit of a mixed bag. I didn't, with all this COVID stuff on, I was in two minds of, is the world really going to come to an end? Is it, you don't want to make 300 hatchies, go big, and then there's no economy, nobody's got any money.
Yeah.
So I sort of restrained a fair bit on stuff that I could have paired. I don't really try to breed stuff just for the sake of breeding it to sell. Nearly every clutch I'm doing is for a purpose of something I'm trying to make, new animals I don't have, or refining a line, or chasing new stuff, So
Yeah.
all of that stuff went ahead. Some of the stuff that was sort of risky, or say risky, but weird experimental things, like let's try this and see what we can get out of it, just left all those aside. So I didn't go as big as I possibly could have, and some things didn't come off, it seems. So probably a pretty normal. I try to stick to around 20 clutches. It's enough work for me and Sheree, and it's not an insane amount of animals to try and move on every year. So I probably only kept, I think, about 10 or 12 from last season. Probably be the same this year. There's not that many things that have to be kept, So it's crazy with stuff, as if you're trying to make double or triple head of
Yeah.
something, you just get clutch. If it's a clutch of 25, I'm almost unhappy that it's too many. Like you're never going to sell that many of some of that more expensive genetic stuff, and you only really need a trio yourself. So it's sometimes you end up with too much or something, but
Yeah. Tell me,
it's
so
all right.
with breeding season, how do you normally roll your breeding season in? What time of the year do you usually introduce your males to your females, and when do you usually start seeing follicle growth and stuff like that with your? When does it kick off at in your facility, mate?
June's pretty much where I start to really get serious. Anything earlier than that, I find really doesn't do much. I've marked off a ton of matings before, and when you go back from pre-laid dates to where it actually happened, it's
Yeah.
a waste of time. I find that middle of June, probably July, I find is where the most of the action is. That's actually productive mating.
Yep.
That seems to be the spot. For me, late June, early July is where all the magic happens. So based on that, most of my clutches sort of hatch around late November, into December.
Yep.
Bredli obviously a bit later on, but most of the carpet and mixed blood stuff's all in that range. So um, it's it's hard to pick the follicle stuff. I used to spend a lot of time feeling them. When you taught me way back, about feeling them up so much, and I still do it a little
Yeah.
bit. I think you can overdo it. I certainly don't recommend handling them excessively, checking every 3 days or something. But I still like to have a bit of a feel. And yep, I think that one's definitely ready to go. And certainly when they've got one male going with 4 or 5 females, that's
Yeah.
certainly the time that, you know, get it out, check it out. Okay, this one's ready. I can feel more bumps in this. Let's go put the male in there now, save that one for later.
But I think
Where it's a one-on-one pairing,
just
whatever, just
that thing that you mentioned with the feeling. I mean, I think the feeling helps to just give you that idea. The feeling of the follicles joins the dots in your mind when you're looking at a female. From feeling them inside and from seeing their body shape, it puts the
yep,
picture together, so you can literally look at it like you'd know by now. You'd be able to look
yep.
at a female and go, okay, well, her
Looks good.
girth looks like this. So from memory, the follicle should be around that size from when you used to feel them. I mean,
Yep.
you just need to do it but it completes that picture that you need to be successful with spotting a snake that's close to ovulating. Because really, you need to just get them in there before they ovulate. The
Yeah.
closer to
Once
ovulation, the
ovulation,
more successful it is.
yeah. Yep.
You
Yep.
know?
It's just a timing game, and when you're multiple pairing, it's harder. When it's just a one-on-one, you can just put them in for 2 or 3 days, take them out for 2 days, and put them back in. You can get it done. It's not
Yeah.
it's not hard, but when it's that multiple, male going with few, that becomes the battle of getting the timing right. So
And when does
they're
that?
pretty smart though.
Have you done much with Antaresia this year?
Bits and pieces. That's something I did hold back on because there was nothing that was really, that I was super chasing, super exciting for me. So a couple of things I wanted to prove out, and a
Yeah.
couple of animals, still like the T plus marbles and things that I wanted to try and have a crack at. So there was a few animals I probably could have paired, but I just held back a little bit on those. So there might be 3 or 4 clutches of ants. That's all this season. So
That teeny tiny little one that you hatched, that was it a T positive children's that you, is that still going?
died.
Ah,
There was 2 T pluses that just never kicked on. Both of them ate once and died. So they're tough Antaresia. They're not as easy as carpets. When it comes time to feeding, I've
yeah.
never. I should say I could count on one hand the amount of carpets I've had that have just died. After 6 months, 8 months of not feeding. Maybe
Yeah.
you let an ant go 2.5 months and they're gone. There's nothing of the poor little things, and
There's,
and
yeah,
it was a
there.
shock to me. I had Faye and Teresa trying to help me last year or year before because I'm looking at these ants going, this thing just won't eat. My carpet tricks that don't work on him. You can't stroke the back of their neck and do this to them. They're just like, what are you
Uh,
doing? Like they're a different species. They
uh,
need different care.
and you
So
can't just
Faye did help me with quite a few I had that just would not kick on.
and
Um,
you can't just shove a mouse down its throat because they just break.
they break very easy. And pinky mice, they're hard to push into anything. Like
Uh,
you're trying to push those into things, and they just literally turn into water inside your hands. They're just they're a hard animal to assist. Trying rats tails and all sorts of things as well.
it's
They're
just not.
fiddly. You need patience, and my carpet brain does not work well on ants. The things I do
Uh,
to them, I'm like, oh, come on, just
uh,
just do what carpets do, but they're not. They need different care. They need patience, like extreme level patience, and
yeah, that's
it's
just not. You're too busy building monitor cages to do
I,
patients with bloody
it's
Antaresia.
this is me. Like I open a tub and it's like, eat, okay, you didn't eat, back in the rack. Like it's
Yeah,
you get about a 4 second window of you will eat this or you will not eat this week. So
yeah.
they can be tough, but yeah, not too much on the ant front.
So
I
any
don't mind the ants. I think there's a great market there for ants. Lots happening there, and same deal as the carpets, exploding in so many different directions. A
but
few new things out there as well. So
what are you particularly looking forward to this season? What's your most anticipated pairing or clutch this year? If you think it,
I really, well, for visual stuff, caramel granite is really all I'd be happy with. If I could get one caramel granite, I would be, happy
nice.
as. And I'm trying to do it with 2 caramel girls that are post double head actually, granite albino. So I need something to prove out to get it done. But there's 2 girls, so hopefully one of them has the magic, and I can get a caramel granite out there somewhere. I'm trying for some of that. We talked about double head and triple head stuff.
Uh,
They're important ones to get just to get those heads growing.
yeah.
You got to get 2 or 3 years wait time before you can try for visuals on those.
Did you ever
So
make? Did you ever make zebra head granite stuff?
no, not at all. I had a clutch that granite that died last year.
Yeah.
Last year, she was paired to a Sunglow Zebra Jag. So
Oh,
that was my clutch of all that stuff that I was hoping would be growing up now, but
yeah.
didn't happen. And I don't really think I did zebra stuff this year either. But it's
Well,
all good.
but that's a long
Zach,
cycle, like I mean that's a cycle, another 3-year cycle. So there's no
yes,
rush in doing that. You could always, the way you feed your stuff, you could go and make that clutch this year, and you could potentially have them up to size in 2.5 years. We both know that this rushing of animal to get them to the right size, in the long
yeah,
run, just is counterproductive, because you
yeah.
end with
You got to use the right animal. Like everyone's rushing to be first, and yourself, you made first, I've made first. Whoop de doo dah. Like
yeah,
2 years later, it's totally forgotten about, and someone else is today's first off the line. So
yeah.
it's I'm not chasing every combo trying to be first. Like I was going to say, Emma and Zach are trying to do some zebra with granite stuff. I'll just steal something off them as soon as they make it. So
Yeah.
it'll be still out there.
Reciprocal.
You just
A reci-
can't
a
make
re-
it all.
yeah.
So
I still think that they need to be one of the super hypo jags. You need to take a granite and put a super hypo jag, one of those really nice without
light.
black. But then you end
Yep.
up with a granite that looks like a super hypo jag with just some combinations just don't add visual wowness
Nope. Nope.
to combine,
And
you know?
caramel's that, like we discussed earlier. Caramel is one that washes out color,
Yeah,
enhances it, but caramel zebra jag, it destroys the zebra pattern in them, turns them basically into a sunglow jag. So
yeah,
some combos can be without one gene in it far better. I showed you that albino zebra I'm keeping back
yeah,
simply because I want just an albino zebra. I've got
yeah.
sunglow stuff, and as adults, they're just not that spectacular. As an albino zebra, they're a far nicer combo.
Did you ever, what did you do this year with your albino zebra stuff?
Nothing.
Oh,
Albino Zebra Girl was paired to the albino Granite, and I don't think he got the job done. She's looking very much like a snake who's hungry. So
yeah.
I don't think he got the job done there.
Yeah, but that happens,
Um,
like that. I remember years of, it's like my eternal story about the super zebra stuff.
yep,
That stuff, it invaded me every year that I tried. I missed out on that, on making super
yep,
zebras. It just
yep.
happens
Sometimes.
sometimes, sometimes the male's not up to it, but it's part of, it's just, you get people that would just throw in the towel and say, look, I'm out of the hobby, if it doesn't work out, if a pairing doesn't work out, or if the male doesn't do his job, because they just cannot wait another year, I mean,
Yep.
it's just, but it's all part of, of being a breeder and having and keeping reptiles. Sometimes your pairing that you're looking forward to they just don't do it for the year, and then you
Yep.
have to wait for another year, and that teaches you the patience to go for. It teaches you the patience that's needed for being a reptile breeder.
Yep. And absolutely, that's why I think it's nice that I've got the luxury of having 20 clutches, because there's always something. Every year there's something new that I'm waiting on. So if I can get, there's 3 clutches I'm dying for this year. If I can get one of them, 2 of them done, I'm stoked. If it leaves me one for next year,
Yeah,
and something else to come along,
yeah,
if you get it all done in one year, you get very bored very quickly. So
yeah. It
it's the
would be.
journey. You can spend 3 years, 4 years making the stuff you want, or you can try and go out there and spend a fortune and buy everything and make everything, in one season and start growing heads up. But I don't know, like we said, it's I enjoy the process of it more than just trying to get the one thing. If it takes me 5 years, so be it.
It's like, you said something the other day, and it's stuck in my mind. The harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yep.
That was one of the best things I've heard in a long time. The harder you work, the luckier you get. And it's just that. It would be nice to just cover everything in one season, but then
Yep.
that is it. What's there left to do then? If you can't go shit, and then the next clutch, wow, you get 0 odds in one clutch, and the next clutch you've got 5 or 6 of something that you should just only have 1 in there. It happens. It balances out in the end. So
Yep.
there's a few people here that's asking stuff. Let me just have a look here. So Matt Loveridge says he's learning how to be patient. Yep, that's very important. And then somebody said something here. Dale Harrison said, I've been thinking lately Antaresia might be somewhat like ball pythons, where some just won't eat anything other than African sulfur rats. Soft fur rats, yes, African soft fur rats. And breeders have found great success using native rats and that come from their natural habitat. Maybe the secret to Antaresia would be a native rat mouse species from. I don't know what they eat. I mean, I suspect Antaresia in the wild would eat geckos and little skinks and little bits and pieces like, in South Africa we've got the same issue with some of our smaller colubrid snakes. They just eat other reptiles. It makes sense. In Australia, there's tons of reptile species, small reptile species, and you'd make sense that Antaresia would eat lizards and geckos that they find around, in the at night. Like it just makes sense to me. And I think that,
On a small enough feed for them too.
yeah,
Stumbling across a pinky mouse, every week's not going to be the easiest thing as that. The
yeah,
same with the blackhead pythons. They're trying to get them started on rats. They're just not what they feed on in the wild when they're young. They're out there
yeah,
scavenging for whatever they pick up off the floor. They're not rodent chasers in the wild.
yeah. So tell us through your process. While we've got you here, so what's your process when you've got you don't have a empty incubation tub in the incubator that you can rip out and show us how you set up your incubators?
Yep. Yep.
Incubation tubs,
I
hang
have
on.
a few always ready to roll. So pretty much just plastic tub, normal Bunnings job.
Yeah.
Onto eBay, you can buy the mesh stuff, aquarium divider, light diffuser, egg mesh. Like it comes
Yeah.
under all sorts of things on there. Buy sheets, cut to size.
Yep.
And then I use a mix. I don't like the whole. Let me try and get that. I don't like the whole just water. You know, the whole
Yeah.
over water. See this doesn't move. You can see when you tip
Yep.
water around on it, you can sort of have eggs in that and be pretty rough with it. No water ever
So-
going to splash up.
So is that just PVC tubing that you've cut to? What are those?
Plumbing floor spaces. You go to Bunnings,
Yeah.
you can buy these things for $1 something. But
Yes.
they're basically just a little platform that sits in the bottom
Beautiful.
bottom of the tub.
Oh,
So-
that's a lot neater than just a piece of cut PVC piping in the bottom.
Yep. And they're quick and easy. You go to Bunnings and for $1 something each, you just buy. They have about 50 in the plumbing aisle there, and pretty much just shove 4 of them in the bottom, and then you mesh on top, and it's done. So
Okay, so how deep would you say that layer of vermiculite is in the bottom there?
probably about 10 mil. I like the mesh to be, at least have 5 to 10 mil
Yeah.
gap to the bottom there, so you can sort of see where I poked the finger in there. There's
Oh, okay. And what's your ratio?
not,
And how do you mix your vermiculite?
50-50. So I'll put about in that tub there. There's probably about 7. I just use the little water bowls to mix the stuff up with. So I'll put 7 scoops of vermiculite in, 7 tubs of water.
Yeah.
And I have them sort of sitting there. I don't have too many ready to go. I'll sort of have 2 or 3 out ready, waiting for eggs, so that because they will dry up. So it's a case of having 2 or 3 ready for if I think there's going to be a few clutches coming this week.
Yeah.
I'll have them in there, warmed and ready. So pretty much eggs come, I'll just grab that tub, run down to the adult room, pack them in there, and throw them straight back in the incubator.
Andy, Mr. Sinclair says he likes that.
He loves it.
I like that, Brent.
I like Mr. Sinclair. He's a funny man.
He likes that. So just on a side note, we all here to promote each other. So just go and check. For those of you that don't know, Reptile Classifieds Australia. If you've got any reptiles for sale, go hit them up, post them there. That's where you sell your reptiles in Australia. Just for you, Shaggy. Just to help you out,
It's a great website. It's a great website. Andy's actually done a really good job of that thing. It used to be an absolute shitstorm, that page of scammers and dodgy ads, and it's
clean it up.
It's cleaned up now. It's great. I chased Lacey's for years, and that page was full of scam ads for Lacey's forever. But it's so good now. It's whatever changes is made with the way you list stuff is it's working really well.
Welcome change. So that was pretty. I've never had a look at those. I've never known about those little spaces that you have in the box. Where did you learn that little trick? Was that just something you saw at Bunnings? Who told you about that?
Just at Bunnings. I'm there one day and I was looking for stuff and saw these just in that plumbing aisle and went, I need them. That's exactly what I need. I can cut up PVC, but this stuff's just, for what it is nice wide base with that top on it. It was just perfect for the job, so grabbed it. I've got a link to it in my phone. You can probably post it on there later.
Yeah, but we gave a few people a good tip there then.
They're good. And then I'll tell you the next good tip. When those tubs dry out, because basically those tubs within, I reckon, about 40 days, that vermiculite mix dries out a fair bit, and you want to add more water to it. This is your weapon. Go to your auto parts store and you get a little battery, or they're hard to find, or your little pump pack bottle thing. Exactly.
That's my little lens cleaner. I mean, you could use that as well. Yeah.
Not a sex toy.
No.
Just a lens cleaner. So this thing you can basically run in the water, suck water up, and it gives you the ability of, if you're worried, and I always am with eggs, I don't like to be flinging water around, so I'll poke that down the side, basically get it right into the corner and push that water straight down the side, just to top those up. At 40 to 50 days they dry out. I like that mix to be damp all the time, so
beautiful.
Doesn't hurt them later on.
I like that. So even I learned a new thing tonight. Those little spaces. There's always these little. See, this is the thing that we used to do with the reptile societies and visiting friends. Like it's such an online community now that people don't get to see, because I'll walk into a place and I'll steal with my eyes.
Yeah.
things that you do, and I'll go, oh, I've never seen somebody do it like that. That's how we
Yep.
used to learn. And it's only so much that get relayed. Now on the internet, it's all about, oh, look at my snake, look at my snake, look at this, look at that. It's not.
Mm.
Somebody else said it this. I watched another podcast this week where somebody else said that as well. It really is that. It's just showing off your animals now, and there's
Yeah.
very little solid information shared. And it's such a great platform to share information on.
Yeah.
We just
And
don't
it's a
do it
shame
anymore.
that the hobby's so secretive now, and for good reason. I get the risk of virus, and the risk of theft.
Yeah.
It's a real thing these days. So having random people come to your house all the time, people often ask, "Can I come and have a look and stuff?" And I feel bad. It's not I don't trust every person in the world, but you just can't have one person tells one person tells one person.
Yeah.
It's a real risk, and the risk of virus stuff. You just can't have people coming and handling and bringing mites or bringing anything into your collection. So
Yeah.
there's no one really. You said yourself that I can count on one hand the people that have ever come, to these rooms. It's
Yeah.
kind of locked down, so people don't get to come and look at all this, the stuff and see the way
Yeah.
you do things. And people ask me all the time, you forget so many things you learn over the years with tricks and things, and people come and see something. Oh, you do that, and it's good to be able to share that because you just think that's just how you do it. It's just
But
how
at,
it's been done.
but at the end of the day, we've got elements and things in the industry at the moment that you don't want to allow into your. And it's not just people. It's well, like you said, there's viruses out there that wipe out whole
Yep.
collections, and it just needs the wrong person, even mites. Just the fact that
Yep.
we discussed it this week or last week. Let one person come in with a couple of mites on them. Even you could visit somebody and
Yep.
transport mites from their collection to
Back to
your
home.
collection. And
Yep.
in a collection your size, it would take thousands of dollars to sort out mites.
To fix it. Yep.
Yeah, you
And
just can't do it.
that's the sad part if you don't just run around all over the place as much. It's awesome to go and see people and help people do stuff. That's sadly the way it is these days. You've got to be careful. If I go to someone else's place to help them with some animals or sex things or sort some stuff out for them, you
Yeah.
pretty much come home and you don't go to your own collection after that. It's change clothes, shower, and come back tomorrow.
Yeah. All right. So that was a good thing. So you handle you've got your incubator there. What temperature do you use to incubate your eggs at?
31. It's pretty much what I've done at the last 3 or 4 years. I've tried colder; they just take longer.
Yeah.
I haven't tried any hotter than 31. I think that's the highest temp I'll go to.
Yeah.
And there is a little bit of variation top to bottom in the incubator.
Yep.
I'm actually trying the blackhead eggs that laid already right up the top this year.
Yep.
I've had issues over the years. Blackheads, they're a tough one, and it's something probably not discussed a lot. I know other people have I've reached out to people and they've told me, and they've come back to me and said, I've had this with eggs. They die full term. They come out of the egg and die.
Yep.
The eggs always look underdone to me. They're wet all the time. It's like they just don't absorb well.
Yeah.
Time problem, a temp problem. They're different species, so there must be some other trick to it. I'm not that experienced with blackheads. I only bred them for a few years, and I only have one or two that breed, so it's not something I have huge numbers to compare to. So
Yeah.
this year I'm trying to the mix a little bit drier and trying to put them up higher where they'll get a little bit more temp. I might be 31.5, 0.6 up top. So I'm hoping that little bit more heat might get them done a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
I feel like they need to be more developed in the egg by the time they're ready to come out. I feel like by the time they're pipping, they're just not ready. They come
Yeah.
out and they shouldn't be out of the egg yet. To me, they look like they're preemie. They're a week back in. I'm always grabbing them, shoving them. You taught me that trick years ago. Get things come out. They're just not ready. Put them back in the egg or wrap them in paper towel, shove them into one of their little water bowls and put them back in there and give them, 2-3 days. And they'll get strong enough by that time. They'll push back out of the paper towel when they're ready. When they're underdone, that extra 2 or 3 days is a really big change to their environment.
That'd be interesting to follow up on, because I think there'd be a lot of people that have those issues with blackheads. I just don't think, like, it's true what you say. I mean, they shouldn't come out being that, they get out and they've got these massive stomachs on them as well, and it takes them months to start going. Like, I mean, you've had particular problems with getting those axanthics that you make to feed on them by themselves. And
And those ones we talked about with that, you used to call it hard belly.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know, they get those hard lumps in them that I've tried to free them up and they're dead. You know, you're
yeah.
tearing something out of those things you shouldn't be messing with. You know, it's so you let them sit, they won't eat, and they die, or you try and move that blockage sort of thing out of them. It's something that just it's not discussed a lot, but there is some problems there that need fixing. So
It might be, it might be that they need a higher temperature to be to incubate at, so they
yep,
absorb, the yolk faster. We all speculate. I'm not an expert in blackheads. I'm from the farthest thing from an expert from of blackheads.
yep,
But it's good to try different things. It's
yep.
really, instead of doing the recipe's not working, year after year, and then try something different. You've got nothing to lose. You've hatched them successfully, and it's now just to refine your method and
Yep.
see how you go. It's like people that incubate have terrible hatch rates with their green tree pythons, because they're incubating too high, and doing it year after year, having dead snake. That you need to do something to see if you can't
Nothing
alter it.
changes if nothing changes. You've got to do something else. It's
Yeah,
get a bad result. You can write it off to 1 year of okay, that didn't work, but you can't just do it forever.
yeah.
It's nothing's going to change.
Uh, so, do you want to look at some snakes, or what do you want to do?
Sure, we're in here.
Let me go. I'll just swap over to the right angle here. So you full screen, yeah. So, what did you have in your mind? Show us something.
Well, we're right behind the
Holdbacks.
this year's holderbacks.
So
Is
start with the
I
holdbacks,
just
and then we'll look at the stuff that you're willing to sell or willing to offload. We'll just have to be careful what we
sell.
say. You
There's
don't
no
sell
selling.
snakes, no.
I just fed all this stuff today, so
Yeah,
it's probably the not the greatest time to be out in here handling everything.
that's all right.
Here's one of the holdback granites.
Gee, how old? When was that born?
That's from this year's hatched. So
Jeez,
it's like 9 months old now.
jeez.
I've just ate today, so good sized lump.
Yeah,
I
no.
think she had two fuzzy hopper rats maybe.
How
But
intricate
this
is?
is one that you get that nice, really green color
Yeah, I can see that.
in them. It's something in that line. I think it's that Darwin IJ mix
Yeah.
color. You don't see that in some of the Jungle Blood lines.
And
It's
these are
just
now
got that
the dirty brown line, yeah.
the dirty brown hustler line.
Oh,
That
that one's a very
color.
intricately patterned one. I really like that. That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's been quite a few like that. There's some that come up with a little bit more pattern in the sides,
yeah.
and they're actually quite dark. But quite a few have gone this way.
I'm
This girl was
surprised.
just one of the.
I'm surprised that one hasn't eaten you alive yet, because I remember those things can be terrible. The granites.
Some of them super aggressive. Oh, that's one in full shed. I won't bother messing with that.
It's
But
good to.
people don't see. Let's see if we can see the
Yeah,
color.
they get that shine. They get that blue tinge to them, and they almost look xanthic when they shed.
Super blue.
Yeah.
Yep, they almost go Smurf blue, I like to call it, and he's not even fully there yet. They will get even more, more blue than that. What was this fella? Oh, it's a little caramel jag. That one, caramel jag.
I'm always surprised how big you can get these things. The way, sorry, I'm laughing, but it's just it astounds me how big, how much size. I never used to feed them that hard to get that type of size on them, but that is just spectacular.
That's only this year. Last year, I sort of decided I'm not really going to push animals to try and breed at 18 months. After that disaster, it's an unlikely scenario. You
Yeah,
have issues regularly, but I decided I feel like 18 months is too young. So
yeah,
this year I cut back. It's once a week feeds, and quite often I'm that busy. Once a week doesn't even happen. So it might be once a fortnight, but I always like to give them a good size feed anyway. So if they're only going to eat once a week, like
yeah.
this girl, then they're going to get a good sized meal. She's probably likely going to smash me.
Just rather tilt the camera. Yeah.
Yeah, we might do camera tilt. So this one's just a little caramel double head,
Yep.
granite albino.
That's very
So
light. That's very light. See that's
Nice
what
colour.
causes that orange. You see that brown?
Yep.
I reckon that's where that orange comes from in the albino granites that you've got. See, look at how brown it is. Bloody hell.
Yeah. So there's some of the really nice, very light coloured animals that are coming out in those double heads. And really, like I think again, down the track, trying to
Yeah.
make sun glow granite stuff possibly might not be as beautiful. Well, I
Yeah.
don't think the caramel might help, but we'll find out. There's some really nice blackheads, and a shame both of the ones that I kept back deep in shed. They do not look great, but some of the nice stuff, really nice patterning, white chins in the little exantic ones. Let's see if we can get a camera angle on that thing, but in full
Oh,
shed.
bloody
But
hell. Yeah, that's nice.
some of the really silvery looking, really, really nice animals, the blackheads, they've become a favourite of mine, the little blackhead python. They're so different, in behaviour. They just, you pick them up, you've got to hold on to them. They will fall straight on the floor out of your hands. They're really not a climbing animal.
Like the way I dropped that one zebra before we went to the expo this year. Kept dropping that one snake. Remember?
This year, last year,
Yeah, remember
yeah,
when I was
last
loading it and he kept trying to bite me and I kept dropping it? Oh, God, I was pathetic.
You're such a rookie these days. You used to be the pro.
Don't like being bitten, mate. Never liked it. Yeah. So you hold the camera for hold the camera for. I know you've seen these snakes, but hold it there for a little while. Just keep it steady so people can get a good look at that. So that's more patterned. It doesn't have the. It's not. Yeah.
The other end of that granite scale where they get a lot more of the black pigment and a lot more of the pattern shows up. It's not as fully exploded patterning that the granite tends to just annihilate all traces of pattern.
Yeah.
So they get a little bit different look in that. That one's a girl, so I thought of keep back in an extra girl. You can never have too many girls.
Yep, of course.
This one was an interesting of albino granites. Mine's a shit because the cleaning lady comes in tomorrow.
Yeah.
This little girl is really light. She's probably the lightest one I've ever hatched. That it's hard to see, but if you can see into her pattern, she's more white and more exploded color than the yellow.
Yeah.
A lot of those older animals I've got, they had much more yellow in the color.
Yep.
And less of the white. So right from a very young age, this girl had, just a really, really light patterning to her. So
that's great. Yeah.
I
haven't seen them that light. That's different looking.
She's different. She stood out right from the start. It's unfortunately she loves mice, but
eventually
gigantic mice. So
they eventually go.
Funny enough, they all. I think they actually grow better on mice from a young age. There's more bone, more fur, and everything in the mice. They kick off much quicker, I think, on mice. But at some point, you run out of ability to.
But you can go and do your string trick and attach the rats to strings to mice, like you do.
Yes, that's a joyous occasion of hemp twine, imported twine from America.
Oh, what is this?
One of the freaky zebra.
Oh, was that from that crazy clutch that you had with all the striping and stuff?
Clutch, yep, that was Ghost Jag by Super Zebra.
Yes.
Crazy patterns. It's the first time I've made those animals.
A Ghost Jag by Super Zebra. Oh, okay.
They're all the whole clutch was Zebra, Zebra Jag, Xanthics. Some few caramel things in there.
So what are they all head phase Xanthic? This?
All heads, yep. All heads.
Bloody hell, that's nice. I like that.
They got some crazy patterns. I've never really, never knew the secret years ago. That these freaky things just come from coastal by zebra clutches.
But your Super Zebra that you used, which line was that from?
That's from your line, from the original.
So that striping that I had in my zebras, Zebra Jags would have complemented whatever came from these from that line. Which line did the Xanthic come? Was that from Lark's line?
Lark's line. Yep. The
Yeah,
Ghost
okay.
Jag was a really light Ghost Jag that I made a few years ago. He's that really, really nice, light, good-looking animal, and
Yeah.
they were probably the best of
Was
the
it that
two.
one that I took photos of when I was there? That little really light colored ghost?
Yes, super light colored ghost,
Shit,
and it's
okay.
that really green looking super
Super
zebra
Z.
that everyone thinks is xanthic at different times. It just goes through stages. It looks really grey,
Yeah.
and other times it looks really
So,
green. So it's
so I know you want to show us a super zebra jag from that clutch. Have you got any? Did you keep any back? Where's that stripy one that you made that I really
really
liked? That one?
stripy one. There was a couple. That clutch had some really cool stuff in it. This one was probably I'd say the best of stripes. It's actually, and this is the joys of caramel. This I believe is caramel
Oh,
zebra jag, and it has some crazy stripes on it.
he turned out nice. It looks like that. Chris made that albino striped super zebra. Oh yeah, that albino. He made an albino zebra jag that looked like that. It's definitely
Yes, I remember those. The
that's
really
that's like
stripy
the
thing.
man. That's nice, isn't it?
And it has that crazy, that crazy caramel sort of striping that's unfortunately fading. It
Yeah.
used to have the really dominant sort of caramel striping in between the normal dark striping.
Bloody hell! Look at that!
Uh,
Look at that pinstriping on the top of the spine there. That is beautiful, isn't it, man? Now, if
Crazy
only we
nice.
can, if only that could be consistent. Are you? Did you make that pairing again this year?
No,
Oh,
quite often I just do it once for what I want, not worried about too much else. So I think I use that
look
that
at
super
that.
zebra is Poshead albino. So I put I think I put albino or that sunglow zebra jag boy
Yeah,
uh, with her this year just to put her out and see
but
what's
the,
happening with her.
but that's the type of stuff that you don't have to overdo that. I mean, you have this animal now, and you know which animals make that. So if
Yeah,
you ever want to make that again, you can just put that. That is so beautiful, Snake. I
pick
really
it
like
back up.
that.
Yeah, she was a stunner. There was another really nice one from that clutch I sold to Joshua Kirkman, Fresh Blood. It's
Yeah,
a cracking animal. He just called me at the right time that I sold him that one. It was I just can't keep all of
all of
them,
them.
you know.
No,
And there was another. This one was this one I think is the caramel freaky zebra.
jeez.
It's got some nice.
That's from the ghost now, yeah? Because a
Yep,
ghost is
same
a
clutch.
caramel axanthic
Yep.
or hypoaxanthic, yeah. That is
Yeah.
nice,
So
isn't it? Man, that looks like. I haven't seen anything like that either.
there's some weird colors in there. So I think that should make some really nice ghost stuff down the track with that
You'd have
one
the
bit.
Americans, the Americans would be chomping at the bit seeing these things.
They haven't done it yet. What are they doing over there?
No, they don't. I don't think they've got that stuff. They don't have that stuff over in the UK and in America. Or not that I think, not that I know of. This is the first time I haven't seen anything like that before. That's great. I need to come and visit you. Bloody COVID.
Yes, damn COVID.
Need
Here's another
photos
one.
of these things. Bloody hell.
This is from the same clutch as well. And since it's Super Zebra, it's got to be Zebra. So this one, I guess, should be Caramel Zebra Jag. And just let me get this tub out of the way.
Oh, shit.
Caramel Zebra Jag or Caramel Freaky Zebra head xanthic.
So that's a
But sure,
caramel zebra jag.
nah,
Yeah.
Caramel Zebra, yeah.
A
Well, they
f-
all have to be Zebra because at first when it hashed, I thought, oh, it's just a Caramel Jag, but
That looks like
eventually,
that looks like a jag though to me.
definitely Jag. So I'm thinking
Yeah. Caramel
Zebra
freaky
Jag.
zebra jag. I don't think
Yeah,
that's been made before either.
don't know.
That's a
There's
great
not many
clutch.
out there.
But I would do those clutch. I would have a clutch like that every day. Seriously,
Yeah,
that's great. That's
but she
beautiful.
almost got that striping, like you talked about, that striping that came through from those original zebras from you.
Yeah.
It's evident in all of these clutches. You know, they all have that crazy striping
And
down
the
that
and
dorsal
the
line.
and the freaky blood makes them just. I'm surprised that they really turn it. I don't have words.
Yeah,
I have not seen these snakes since I was there in March, and they are
yeah,
just fantastic. Seriously.
It's certainly coloured up well. And this one I really didn't take any notice of. Cherie said to me, like, she's the master cleaner, and
Yeah.
she says there's a snake up there, this number one. You don't even have a silver tag on, like the silver tags for the holdbacks.
Yeah. So
And then I came up here and opened the tub and went, it's just shed. And I was like, yes, you are 100% correct. That is definitely one worth keeping.
somebody asked you something. So does all zebra have jag in it? No, it's two, Corey. It's two separate mutations. So zebra is not the same. And so jag is a separate mutation to zebra, and that freaky line is just an expression of the specific. It's a different expression of the zebra mutation. But these things that Brent's showing us is totally different. So
yeah,
crazy.
and it's really the freaky part of it's just a polygenic natured thing anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone's done. I had this discussion with a guy just today. He was picking up a snake, and I don't know if anyone's done freaky zebra to freaky zebra.
I think they have, and it's all freaky zebra. No.
And
no.
obviously there's got to be some super. You got to have some, quarter clutches.
I think they do.
Zebra freakies.
I think they do make super zebras that look normal, and then the rest of the zebras are all freaky zebras.
Yeah.
So it still works. But that looks like there could be something more involved in. If you had was a whole clutch like that, or was there some stuff in that clutch that looked normal?
No, there's normal zebras as well. So there was.
Okay.
So this is from that same clutch. Just a normal zebra.
That's also got the red tinges to it. The red, almost like caramelly coming through it. See, it's got reds in it.
Yeah, it's possible that's caramel as well.
I reckon that's caramel.
Behind the head. I think, what number is this one? Yeah, 94. I'm pretty sure this one I did mark as
caramel, definitely.
As caramel.
Yeah.
Let me just put this one down, and I'll grab you another one from that same clutch. Back in your hole.
Glenn Thomas says, I did freak to freak last year out of 2 of Dave. So what was the result, Glenn? Did you end up with super?
The original.
Yeah, so Glenn, did you end up with super zebras? There were normal super zebras and freaky. What was your ratios, mate? That's what we're interested in. That's an interesting topic, this. Lots of stuff to figure out.
That's a normal zebra from that. Yeah. So zebra head exanthic from that same clutch.
But see the pattern on the back of that snake, though. The pattern on the back of that snake looks like that. That's what the striping does in that line as well. It messes up because zebras have got banding almost, really tight banding. And that breaks up the banding into almost like a splotchiness up the spine. That's
definitely. Like, I think that in a lot of these mixed blood things, the zebras are terrible. You look in the early days when everyone was busting to make albino zebras. A lot of the Darwin blood zebra head albinos were just shocking in comparison of quality zebra compared to the pure jungle stuff. You look at it and it's just like, wow, I hope this makes something good in the visuals, because the heads were just not attractive animals. So
Glenn says he got super, sorry to interrupt you, he said supers and freaky nearly half. But Glenn, was there any normal looking zebras in the clutch, or was it all freaky and all supers? As far as I think that it's been done. I think it's full clutch, clutch. It's split between supers that look normal and then freaky. The zebras look like freaky zebras. Corey Gill asked, "Do you have axanthic super? Do you have an axanthic super zebra?" No, you don't have axanthic super zebras.
No, I don't. Jared Sharp has ghost supers and axanthic supers, I think.
But there's nothing, they're nice, but the European, the really grey Euroline is axanthism. That gives them that nice pale grey, axanthic look. I don't.
There's not that much here, I suppose, in the lines we have. This is probably one of the lighter animals. This is a ghost.
Yeah, Glenn says he had one normal. Oh, that's a nice ghost. Man, that's nice. That's light, isn't it?
Nice and light.
Got so many nice.
I mean, that's obviously caramel gene mixed in there as well, but it's it's that mixed blood, I suppose, because it's from the moon glow, so it's Darwin blood, coastal blood.
You've got so many nice toys, Brent. Huh?
There's a few. There's always a few.
And there's a few that we haven't even seen yet. Yeah, Brent said, he said, Glenn said, Brent, he said, yeah, he had one normal zebra in the clutch, Glenn Thomas, and then he said, Brent, that's where I got my Ghost Freak from. Probably, I don't know who we were talking about when you said, maybe from, who did you get your moon glow that you made? Who is that from? Cameron Meredith, wasn't it?
Like Cameron Meredith, the double heads came from.
Yeah.
I had some issues early with ghost stuff we won't discuss.
Yeah.
But yeah, I ended up buying double heads from Cameron.
Yeah.
That produced the first one. He's still in here somewhere. He was a pain in the ass to get feeding.
I was
he's actually.
I was just going to ask you if that's still going.
Yeah, still going good. He's actually eating okay now, but he took a little while to get moving. Didn't eat tonight.
I'm only noticing now it's paying off the gym. Look at the triceps going, mate. Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, you used to be a fat slug. Now you're just a machine. Oh, nice. Okay.
So I think this is just a snow. Like, I don't think this is like what looked to me for the first 9 months of this animal. I believe 100% was Moonglow. It was just white as,
oh yes,
but as it got older and older,
a bit of yellow in there.
It just kept getting more and more yellow. So, I mean, I don't have adults of these. I guess Larks would know more about adult stuff, how white they are. Like, it's obviously this, I think, is just snow. I think there's moon glows, which are going to be whiter, and then obviously super, when you got the super moon, full moon, as they like to call them. I think they're
all the
that's
names.
as close as you're going to get to a white animal. So
that's nice. It's still nice though. What's that, a boy? That's a male, yeah?
That's a male. Yep.
As long as they
good looking boy.
Yeah, as long as they're perfect and as long as it's showing the genes, mate. That's all that matters. Now you have to refine them,
Yeah, exactly. There's plenty of work for him down the track with a few other girls I kept back from that.
And that's a magnificent bunch of snakes that you've just and I can just imagine what you could do with all that stuff. Bloody hell. That's another 10 years, another 20 years of work there.
Yep, and I guess this is the harder bit. When I sit down to do pairings every year, it's fortunate, and it's also crushing your brain. The possibilities of so many animals to pair is almost a curse that you look at, like that super zebra. I sit there and think, do I put the granite with it? Do I put this with it? Do I put some sort of other zebra with it? There's so many options of stuff to do that it's almost like a very hard to pick what you want to do. This is the snow. I think this is also a snow. This always had more yellow on it than what that other one had.
Yeah.
The snow from this season.
And then when they're younger, they're just so erratic, the movements, and they go crazy. Yeah, it's still got a lot of white in it. I mean, I wouldn't frown on having that in my collection, definitely.
No, beautiful animal, and sort of ate really well, and then went to sleep for a little while, and now just in the last couple of weeks, it's come back to life.
Yeah, they sometimes do that. Yeah. It does seem like some hatchlings do go through that slow down period during winter, when they can feel the room's getting cooler, some of them do slow down with their feeding and some just keep powering through it.
It's weird that this room is like, it's 26 degrees now, and it never varies much. It's a room it's made out of 50 mil cool room material, so there's very little temp variance in this room. All the racks run constant 31, 32. The incubator's on, so even when you want this room to be cooler to work in it, it's not ever cooler, and the aircon automatically turns on to stop it ever going at 31 and a half or something. The aircon turns on and automatically brings the room back to 28 and then turns off again. So this room never changes much, yet somehow these animals know when the last week or two ambient temperatures outside are up, temperatures are all going up everywhere. Suddenly half of them kick back in and feed.
It's eating time. Yep.
They know time of year. They know, there's so many triggers, barometric pressures, not just temperature. They read so much more that they just know what time of year it is. I don't think you could trick a carpet python into, breeding in the middle of winter if you created the perfect environment that looked like summer, but they just know it's not summer. So
show us some of those albino zebras that you made last year. Albino zebra and
Um,
albino zebra jags, because you had Dad, you remember that clutch that you had, like from albino zebra to albino or sunglow? Was it albino zebra to albino sun, or was albino zebra to
uh,
albino zebra jag?
I
That
think there
was,
was Sunglow Zebra Jag
and you made it.
to a Zebra, and there was that same Sunglow Zebra Jag to Albino Zebra that
Yeah,
made the
because you
big
haven't
strike.
really showed any more of those photos of those animals. Oh yeah, that's got a bit of orange in it because I'm getting the. Oh no, what? That's nice. It does have a bit
So,
of orange because I'm getting the green screen on it.
yep.
Why is there a green screen?
So,
Let me just. Oh yes, because I've got a bit of green screen. Yeah, that's nice. What's that? Zebra.
just Albino Zebra Jag.
Yes.
Let's see, it's holding up those separate colors where by now these things in a sun glow tend to, they get really washed out. You lose, they start to basically just turn all yellow from there.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Feeding day today, big lump.
Yep.
This clutch was the Sunglow Zebra Jag to Zebra. This is the one that I was showing you earlier.
Before,
That's
yeah.
just a crazy color. I'm not sure what's going on with this thing as far as color goes and why.
Oh, that's
This
nice.
is, I guess, just a Sunglow Jag.
Yes.
Maybe just an albino Jag, but the colors in this thing are just spectacular.
It's the red line.
Really good.
It's like
yeah,
it's the
right.
Precision
Like
Reptiles red line albino zebra jag. Albino zebra. Albino jag. What am I saying? Albino jag. Bloody hell.
Overseas they have the red line. I guess
Yeah.
this is what they're talking about. It's
Beautiful.
Try and get this fella. Sit still. I'm trying to get him up near the light because it's very hard to see those colors.
Oh yeah, very nice.
And that was another one that I hadn't really taken much notice of because there was so much happening in that clutch. Shree's like, this one is crazy. You have to keep this.
Yeah.
She's just as bad as me. She finds things all the time that she's like,
Yeah.
I have to keep this. Why are you selling that? Like,
And she'll be spending a lot more time with them as well. She'll know who's the nice ones and who's the, yeah. Women have got a very good sense of, of a sense of style and fashion. And those would
They
be,
do.
that's a good item to keep. Stylish.
I know it's funny. People, when I'm selling snakes, people say, "Oh, does it handle well?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I never handle it. Like it's true.
You
To
guess.
clean them every week."
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I feed them, so whenever they see me, they're expecting food. They're generally not that friendly. So I think we've seen that. I don't think there's probably that much else.
No, there's still a few people hanging on. We've got a few people watching tonight. I'm surprised. Nice.
For a Sunday night?
Yeah, Sunday night's a good night to spend around having a look at getting an inside scoop of your collection, at least.
Some people tell me Sunday night's the night. Mr. Jeremy Finlay says Sunday night is the perfect night, no sports. You can get out there and relax, school night, early night, watch some Carpet Python TV.
So what do you think that's a hypo? That's a zebra, that's a jag, a super zebra jag though, yeah?
I think, either
No,
I'd say
hypo?
jag, just, you see that coloration behind the head, that darky patch where there's very light around it. I believe that's jag in these.
Yeah.
A topic of much debate that you can't tell what's jag and what's not till you breed them, and I fully believe that. But just from what I've seen and what I've bred from stuff I made in 2016,
that's obvious.
For me is jag. It's not showing neuro, so it's no cheetah line, but I think definitely got the caramel gene into that one.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm thinking, people are saying it's a great show. I think, we try to push out these shows once a week and stuff. And I think, something like this you could do once a month and do it well once a month, That's what we should aim for. Thank you, Isabel. Yeah, I saw, is it Isabel? Isabel Keen? Thank you, that's nice. I put a lot of work into these streams to make them look nice. So what's your favorite snake? Somebody, Corey Gill's asking, in that room, what is your absolute favorite snake?
I'll tell you what, crazy snakes, possibly up there with the favorites.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. Is that one of the ones you made end of last year?
Yep, this is from that. This is the clutch that when I cut.
Oh, my
Remember when
goodness.
the colors of some of these when they came out? I was trying to prove or disprove the stonewash
Gee.
being in those
Didn't
Bredleys.
Then was that one of the ones that we said had like the empty, see the light colors on the sides, on the flanks there, just between the
Yep,
spine and the side band. That is beautiful. Is it?
it's almost like an
Wow.
olivey reduced pattern Bredley, all pure Bredley too, and these were from that stonewash line to
Yeah.
another. What I never thought was stonewash. It was always something else that was just a really weird reduced pattern girl.
Yeah.
And I paired those two up 4 or 5 years ago. Made the parents of these, and then paired them up to try and prove, disprove everything. But it looks to me just like a polygenic line. But
That's
what
beautiful.
a
I mean,
line though!
how many of them did you sell?
None.
Why would you? They look like that. Show us more. I'm sure you've got a few more nice ones like that. But that would be like the better ones. What were the were there darker ones in that? There were darker ones in that clutch as well. What did they turn out to be like?
Definitely. There's a mixture of them. There's some that I did sell a few from these, but some of the lower expression ones the nose.
Yeah.
So there's no one's in shed. There is always, as we know, there's variation in stuff. Some look way more hypo than others.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah, that's nice, isn't it? Was there hypo in that line?
no, it's
And they, but they,
just
but Bredli, they don't, they do go lighter and darker, but not that light. I mean, that's just a total reduction in the pattern on those snakes.
yep. I mean, the hypo in Bredley, as we know, being just polygenic, it's open to. You could make your
Discussion,
own
yeah,
line of hypos. If you had your best looking uh, lightish animals and you kept breeding those to
yeah,
to
that's nice.
refine the line.
That first one you showed is my favorite, but I can see that one's got the like
Yep,
light color running down the side there as well. Your
same
phone's, yeah,
reduced pattern.
there we go. Now it's focused. Move it away a little bit. There we go. Struggling when it's close like that. Yeah. Very nice. Man.
So that's like a darker animal,
And
like the base color, certainly darker,
yeah,
but still with that reduced pattern areas on them.
that's grown. This is sort of like the catch up episodes, 7 months or 8 months. What's it? 9 months. 9 months. No,
9 months.
it's about
Yeah.
6 months
Oh, actually,
since we cut them.
these hatched
March, wasn't it?
middle of
February.
March.
Yeah.
Like 16th of March or something.
Oh, there's a
So
few people saying they're loving it. Yes. Please drop us comments. Please ask questions if you want to ask. You've got Brent at your disposal now. Ask him if you're interested in anything. Let him know. Reach out to him. He's got stock there left from last season still. I'm sure he'll. If you ask him nicely, he'll be all too happy to assist you in getting your best snake that you want.
It's certainly the tougher time of year. We discussed it earlier that at this time of year, so much stuff sold. There's about 50 animals still here from last season.
Yeah.
There was about 250 to start with, which is what I try to make. I don't want to make ever more than 200 to 250 for me is more than enough.
Yeah.
It's enough that I can sell them all. I can keep some, I can sell them all, and I'm never stressed that I don't have the room. Once these clear out, the new ones come in and replace it. So
it's just getting that balance that you're not overworked and you're not spreading yourself too thin. Have you got any nice albino granites there? Like you showed the light one. Have you got a standard albino granite?
yeah, there's a couple more over here. This one's in shed, so more of the standardy sort of pattern.
Yeah, the shed also washes out the color on it.
Yep, looks quite light, and yeah, the patterning gets lost when they're in shed. They get very.
Yeah, so the Drew Teabag Furlong
Very
said he got a
dull.
snake from you last week, and he's wrapped.
Happy
Yeah,
customer.
yeah.
That's all we want. Here's another one, also in shed. Everything's in shed.
Yeah, well, wrong timing. Yeah, you can still see the pattern though. They look different because they've got the really narrow banding, really narrow stripiness on them. So are you hoping that you're going to make an albino zebra, albino granite jag this year?
Definitely. That's something that I still have not cracked. There was a clutch today, which was almost a bit of a small disaster.
Yeah.
It was a granite jag, post head albino to what was it? Albino granite male. 6 good eggs, 12 slugs. Just
Yeah.
not a great result.
Yeah.
3.5 years old, plenty of size on the girl. I think it's the boy. Last year he sired a few clutches. Had one really good clutch last year to one of the double head girls, the original girl from you.
Yeah.
That's where all those albino granites came from. I think there was 5 in that clutch, maybe 5 or 6. It was a fantastic result. But the other couple of clutches he made were just hit and miss, So
somebody asked, Isabel Keen asked, how big is your collection and at what point would it become too much for one person to manage? It's already.
That point was about 3 years ago.
When you were so burnt out that you needed to do something, otherwise we would have lost you out of that. I reckon, that's something, that's a real thing that some of the bigger breeders face is getting burnt out because they.
You can't do it all yourself. No. I'm very fortunate Cherie helps a lot. Like, she's always been there and helped, but she really stepped up the last few years where she saw I was struggling to do it when it's 30 to 40 hours outside of your normal work life. That's all happens weeknights, till 10 or 11 at night, and every weekend you'll spend 5 or 6 hours, cleaning and feeding. So Cherie does a brilliant job of all the cleaning. At the moment, she's doing, pretty much one day she can clean this whole room because it's not quite full, and one day in the adult room. So, it's 2 shorter days. She can be done by lunchtime at this time of year. And she's a massive help for me. I can come in here on the weekend and spend an hour cleaning adult room this time of year. It can be a 20-minute feed, once the food's ready to go.
Yeah.
In the peak of season, as you know, you've been there yourself, when you've got 250 hatchies trying to get feeding and all the adults are back on food. It's a real heavy workload. And that's the time that Cherie will spend 3 days a week, long days trying to clean hundreds of tubs. It's just much more time consuming at different times of the year. So you just try and enjoy the quieter times. And that's where I was sort of really happy to get that lacey enclosure done now, just in time, to go back to work with the snakes. So it's, I think everyone's circumstances are different. At the moment that you feel like it's work and you're struggling to keep up with it, you've got to change something. You can't just keep going down that line of ultimate pressure, and you're dealing with live animals. You can't reduce how well you do the job just because you've got too many and you can't keep up. It's not fair for the animals. So.
But I think that's a trap that a lot of young breeders step in, is the fact that they think that they can make as much snakes as they want and cope with it. I mean, it's like you said, it's that balance that you get where I used to have excess space. I had empty racks some years, but I made sure that there was enough room to upgrade big, like those V35 low tubs, like you'd have space to swap them over from one rack to another. So you never feel like that you start to feel claustrophobic when there's too many snakes. And I see a lot of young guys think that they can just make millions of snakes, and then they get burnt out, and they sell up and they leave the hobby. And they do that to themselves.
You've got to work into it. The first year I ever bred, I had 2 clutches. The year after was 1 clutch. So you almost use those years as training time, because getting baby snakes to feed is not simple. You get some stubborn things that can really drive you insane. When you're not good at it or not great at reading it, when you all start somewhere, they can really, really frustrate the shit out of you. And if you don't have access to live after a certain amount of time, or you can't assist feed safely, it's really stressful time of year,
And the thing is,
to be doing that and have 10 clutches,
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know that you've got a business, you've got a full-on business that you run as a career as well, that you're the owner of. And I mean, it's okay. I used to do this full time. I used to breed reptiles for a living and import reptile products and other things that we won't go into. Um, but
Hashtag hustler line.
yeah, yeah, if you're doing it full time, you can cope with that. But
Yep.
to do a 9 to 5 job and you work longer hours than that, come home,
Yep.
have dinner, and then go and spend hours on top of that outside in the snake room, that is just, it kills you. I mean, there's
It's a lot of work.
there's a few guys that I'm watching, keeping an eye on as well at the moment in the industry that, that I reckon they'll get burnt out because it's just too much.
Yep.
And there's a few guys that are strolling into that are making lots of babies and lots of hatchlings, and I think that they just don't know what's coming. Like I think it's an awakening, getting 10, 15 clutches and getting all those clutches to go and realizing, but man, just not coping with it. We'll see, but
Yeah. And
let's not harp on
you
it.
got to sell. Like at the end
Yeah,
of the day, it's great to make 100 animals, 150 animals. You got to sell 150 animals too.
yeah,
So it's not simple to sell everything that you make. Sometimes I'll hold on to stuff that's in this rack here that's that's not holdbacks. It's been there for 2 years. It's the last year's babies. There's still 6 or 8 on that side that haven't gone. I haven't particularly busted to try and sell them, but they're still here. Like
yeah,
caramel jags and zebra jags that are yearlings. Just because I haven't advertised them, they're still just here. No one's really been looking for that animal. If you have a whole clutch of that stuff sitting around, you got trouble. It's all easy when they eat pinky and velvet rats. When they get to the size where they're eating weaned, or small rats, and you've got 50 or 100 animals, you're looking
yeah.
at hundreds of dollars a week to feed those. If you can't keep the food up to them, you'll find out the hard way pretty quick. It's not all pretty. So
Okay, time for a sponsored. A little bit of a plug here. You've got your dad runs a side business called what? And please quickly plug them in there. I don't know if he's got excess rodents, but tell people about that side business
no.
as well.
Excess rodents. Is there such a thing as excess rodents?
I don't know. So
That's where KHP, like this hobby that started has grown into almost like the family hobby business now that I've, Sheree helps here. Dad retired a couple of years ago and took over all of the rodents. I said, look, just take all of it, breed everything. I'm happy to buy it all back from you, and whatever excess you make, you sell, make yourself some money. So he's developed it even further. He's made it 5 times as big as what I had, at my place. He's made it huge. He's made himself basically a 3 or 4 day a week job. He does a fantastic job of it, but he's realised that it's a lot of work, and you never catch up. I always fail to understand when I talk to rodent guys like Darren Whitaker,
uh,
and guys that bred rodents years ago. They're always behind, can't make enough, don't have any of this size. Oh, I can't give you that order for 3 weeks because I just don't have the stock. And I was always, a disbelief of how can you not manage it that well until you do it, and
yeah,
then you go, you just can never be on top of this. It's an endless cycle of I don't have this, I don't need that, I can't kill this because I need to grow more out. I need more breeders. It's a crazy cycle. And it's great now. It keeps Dad busy for 3 days a week. I'm happy to buy the stuff from him. My son Harrison goes and helps him out. And cost him a fortune buying him KFC for lunch. So it's a good combo for him.
Andy's saying here, would Smith Senior like to take over his rodent business as well? So tell me,
Wow.
does your dad, does he sell it's called KHP rodents, and does he have,
KHP.
you
Yep.
can find him
He
where on
doesn't have the
Facebook?
stock
Yeah,
between. He wholesales to one guy, and he services everything I need. And I didn't realize how much rodents I use a year until I started to pay for it. And then you think, oh my God, like when you can't subsidize it with your own stuff, it's a lot of money, which I'm
uh,
happy to pay Dad, but I just certainly wouldn't be out there buying it from a pet shop.
uh,
But he just never has enough stock to sell. So he tries to help out some local guys, around home. But he just doesn't have, like people message him all the time chasing stuff. He just can't make
yeah,
enough product, and he's constantly trying to expand. But I feel like the reptile hobby's moving so much faster than what the rodent supply game is. It's almost like everyone. I mean, Darren Whitaker got out, so
yeah,
all the people he was supplying suddenly are out looking for a new supplier. I know Andy shut down for a while. There's not enough guys making enough rodents for as many snakes are getting made, in my opinion.
yeah,
There's a couple of big guys out there doing really well, which is great. If they weren't there, there'd be really a big problem with food supply.
But
So
but you know what I think a big cap is in this country is the fact that the rodent food suppliers charge an arm and a leg for rodent food, and
mm,
that inflates the price as well. I mean, over in America, you can buy an adult rat for like $2, you know,
yeah,
$2 or $3 for an adult rat.
yeah,
What do you
yeah,
guys? What do they charge here? 10, 15 shops charged $18 for a large retired breeder rat. You know,
yeah.
that is what you're
Some
working
worse,
against.
there's some retail prices, astronomical prices, but when you've got one or two animals, you pay the money. Like when you've got more, you've got to try and source somewhere else with volume to get better pricing. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's a tough balancing game, that one. Like I'd love to send a heap of people Dad's way to sell stuff. He just struggles to keep up. It's and the deal is he supplies me first and
Yeah,
everyone else second. So
I think that's a
it's
good deal. That's a great deal.
it's a great deal. It's a
Yeah.
fantastic deal. I love it. He's doing a fantastic job for me. Just sadly, everyone else is missing out. So,
But he
I hope
gets
he
he
gets
gets a little he gets paid out of it, so that's all right. You know,
he gets
keeps
paid.
happy him
Yep,
happy as well. So he doesn't have to go far to find a customer. You're right there.
yep. And he gets to see me dropping rats off to me all the time. So it's a great deal for him. It's a beautiful combo.
Somebody said here, Callista Elizabeth Vakopoulos. I don't know how to say your surname. Sorry if
Callisto.
I butchered
Yep.
that. Such a hard job to do right without the correct facilities. Yeah, and it takes up space and they smell and it's all this stuff and you need to keep them clean. Otherwise, the neighbors, depending on where you live, like there's all these collateral issues around keeping rodents in suburban areas. I mean, I used to have, I don't know all of that because I did, all of us go through that stuff. We try and do snakes and then we try and do rodents on top of that, and then we realize, but man, we can't do two jobs at it because it's a job in a day, there's the rats, because the snakes and the rodents are totally two different jobs.
Yeah.
And the rodents take up more, I would say rodents take up more time than snakes do. Just
Yeah.
because they,
Definitely.
especially summer, running around trying to keep them cool, and they need their own air conditioner and they need to be kept cooler than the snakes, so you can't have them in the same room. We can go on about that for hours,
No, I'm happy the rodents are gone. It's
Yeah.
it was the worst part of all of it, and I guess everyone goes down that road, like you say. When you have enough snakes, you think that that's the answer to it, and yeah, for some people it is. I know some big breeders who still won't touch
Oh,
rodent breeding and just buy it in, and I always thought I couldn't afford to do it, but there's some sort of point of balance, I guess, where you just got to accept the fact you need the food. It's part of the game. You don't have the time, you there's no getting back to time. You buy time is the only way you get more. So
yeah.
if I want to spend 6 hours doing rodents, or if I want 6 hours off a week, I'll pay to buy the rodents in. You just got to make that choice at some point. You're a snake breeder or you're a rodent breeder.
Yep.
Unless you're gonna, like you say, when you do it full time and then you have that extra time to do the rodents and do the snakes as well. You know, saying that, I would not go back to rodents ever.
We've got some special requests here because we almost forgot. We don't want to go. I don't want to go too long because it's Sunday night. I don't want to keep you up here the whole time. So we'll go for another 10 minutes or so. But somebody asked here. We totally. It's yeah, especially when you have to be up early tomorrow morning. Somebody asked about your albino bread. Is there any albino Brettles pythons in that room there, or did you move them out?
Nah, they're all
Oh,
gone to the
damn.
other room. I didn't get any last year.
Oh,
This is a trick. We all try to be smarter than what we should do, and we've all done this before. So I had a trio to start with. Got some albinos, grew those ones up, and I was using last year. I had two young males. I had no females in that first clutch. There were four albino Bredleys, all four males. So
yeah.
I kept two. I sold two. I used those two boys with the heads and other things last year,
Yeah.
and nothing. So it's a perfect working thing of a trio with the heads, and then you try to cheat it. Improve your odds. Use the visual, and nothing comes. So you miss out on a year.
Did you sell the male head?
Yes, I sold a pair.
Oh.
So I kept one girl, and kept all the holdback stuff.
Yeah.
That was after the second year. The second year of using the heads, I thought, well, the third year round, I'll just use the male, visuals, so I had no females. So
Bloody
I
hell.
just sold a pair off to some friends of mine, which they bred them last year. So, I could have kept them and made
I,
more, but
oh, so
I'm happy
that's,
to,
I did see them and I thought, where did those albino? Oh, now
yeah,
yeah, I
so
never
I
knew. I
sold
thought,
that.
and I think I did say, don't sell those heads. At
Yeah,
some stage, I would
that's
have said
always the
that to
rule,
you.
isn't it? Like we've talked about it for years, where you see people, they'll breed
They're,
something and have eggs in the incubator, and then go, great, I'll sell that pair now. You
yeah.
know, like
It-
it's a long way from those eggs getting to animals that breed and breed well before you worry about selling those heads. Like you've nearly got to just put them aside for an insurance policy. Feed them for a couple of years, even if you're not breeding. You don't have to breed everything every
yeah.
year, believe it or not. So you can just tuck them away, and once you've got those animals fully up to size and breeding, it's always a case of an animal that's 3 years old may not be a great breeder anyway. So you pretty much don't count your chickens before they're fully grown and making more chickens. So
I do think though that with the Bredli, I think you'd have a better chance of them breeding at an older age. Did they do anything for you this year?
yeah, definitely. The two boys fired up. Finally, I was a bit worried this
Yeah,
year they were doing nothing again, and I was like, yeah, it's just really frustrating me. These
yeah.
these boys, even one of the males I sold to another mate of mine, I said to him, a couple of months ago, I tell you what, that male might be coming back if I don't get these two to fire up, because they're
Uh,
just doing nothing for me. But
did
they
you
they both,
did you sell that to Jess Winslet?
yep, Jess and Troy.
She just
Um,
said here, yes, they are
yeah.
beautiful, and she's sitting here full of a gut load now. So grab it again. Thanks, Brent.
Well,
Thanks for
she
nothing.
had a great clutch last year. I can't remember how many visuals they got. Jess loves them, so she wanted to keep all of them. So
Yeah.
she kept a few. I don't know if she sold maybe one or two. And yeah, I'm pretty sure they got them going again this year. And I'm happy they've got them and they're breeding them. Like
Who's
I'm happy
who?
to pass on some of that stuff.
Darren had a massive clutch. That all that stuff came from Darren, and Joe Ball's got some of them as well. Who else is making the albino bread? The albino bread? Was it just you and now Jess? I mean, from the babies the young
Yep,
ones that
from
you
that line.
raise.
I don't know. Like Cameron Meredith had some of those heads initially too.
Yeah,
When Darren made them, I don't know what he's made.
yeah,
They're they're not easy to make. Like everyone, you yourself. We talked
yeah. I
about this
tried for
before.
years. I tried for
Trying to
years.
get an albino Darwin early breeder to go with the Bradley, spring breeder later.
Yeah,
They're not easy. And I'm in that same position now where I've taken one of those visual males and tried to put it back to a pure Bradley girl. And I've got that same issue now. The Bradleys are far from looking like they're still trying to
anything.
eat everything that comes in their enclosure. And
Yeah,
I've got these male visuals that are, mixed blood things that are breeding with the head girls and breeding with other animals I'm working them into.
yeah,
But the Bradley girl's just not ready. So I'm trying to make the 75% Bradley blood heads,
yeah.
to wait another 3 years to try and make something with those. But it's just that timing issue again. So I think a lot of people had plans of doing it. It's getting it done that's the problem. So
I actually saw a photo of it. I tried that for years, and there's nothing more disheartening than getting a clutch from a Bredli, a big female, with 35 or 40 slugs in it. And you
yes,
go because they look like they're gravid, and then you just walk in one day and they sit. I think I tried it 2 or 3 years in a row, and every time I had like clutches of just slugs that they sat on.
yep.
You know.
That's exactly what I had last year with that young male visual to a big Bradley girl laid. Like I couldn't tell you how many slugs it was. There's the most amount of slugs I've ever seen in a tub. When I opened it up, it was just heartbreaking. It's so much work for those girls
Yeah.
to spit out that bunch of rubbish.
How's your phone's battery going?
It's
Have you got
plugged
it
in.
plugged
It's
in?
going great.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if you did. Isabel Keen says that Matt Somerville has bred his own albino Bredli this year. I don't know. I haven't noticed any.
I'm sure they're out there. There's got to be more. I mean, so many people were doing it. There had to be heads out there somewhere, more getting made. So
Yeah. Jess Winslet said I think she had 5 albinos out of that female.
yeah,
Uh,
awesome result.
yeah,
So
well, those heads would make massive clutches though. How big was the female when she left
she
you?
was a good size.
Yeah.
I think she'd lay 15, 16, 17 eggs a season. So I'm not sure how many. I just had that. I think 18 maybe. Good numbers.
Yeah.
So they're pretty decent sized girls. 2.5, 3 kilos, I think. So
Okay, sorry, I just had Ava here staring through the door, and she's, I don't know, she's signaling me something. I don't know. So, where can people?
Raise your hand.
So, let's. I think we've been going for almost 2 hours now. So I think that's good. We can catch up another time as well. I don't
Yep.
want to keep you up later. I know if you want to spend some time with your family. So I think it went well. Thank you for coming on the show, mate.
Thank you, mate. We'll do it again. Maybe we'll do another one in a month or so from the adult room where all the other yearlings and the other stuff going out is. That's
Where all the good
sometimes
stuff.
more
Where all the
exciting than
good.
the
Where all,
room.
where all the good stuff is. Yeah, that'd be
The
nice.
stash. The
Yeah.
stash.
So where can people get a hold of you if they need to get a hold of you, if they're interested in anything that you have available? Maybe not that we're promoting any sales on this show, but give them your details, please.
KHP, well, Messenger, on Facebook, Brent Smith, or there's KHP Reptiles page. Message me on there. On the website, khpreptiles.com.au. There's a message, a contact form on there. All my numbers on there.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised if I never answer your call because I'm normally at work. People try to call me a lot through the day. My own family try to call me through the day and never get me. I'm on 2, 3 phones on hold with 2 others, and mobile phone just doesn't even get a look in. So it's best just to shoot me a message when you can, and I'll always get back to everyone. Anyone who's ever messaged me, I will get back to them at some time through the day. So
Of course, you're pretty good like that. So don't get impatient. Just be patient with him, and he'll get back to you at the end of the day. But I think that was a good one. Thank you for showing us some of your animals, mate. It's always a pleasure. I can't wait to come up and see you in person when we are finally allowed to leave Victoria
when you
and our
Victorians can clean your act up a little bit.
our homes. We prisoners in our own homes down here. So, but it seems like they're lifting up some of the restrictions. So I don't know. I think it's a crazy time to be alive, but good luck with your season. I'll speak to you tomorrow again, and yeah, thank you for coming on the show. I just want to thank everybody for watching. We'll try and do these shows a little bit more. I lost a bit of interest there for a while, but I'm working on something on the side now. So as soon as the doors and the gates open for Victoria, I've got a plan to go and see a few guys down here and do some live streams from their collections and shoot some video and stuff. I think this is going to be more of a thing for me to do while I wait before I can integrate myself back into the community of reptile keepers eventually. Because we know why. Well, we won't go
so
there.
much out there.
Yeah,
there's
I know.
I'm just one of 20 breeders I know that, there's a few friends of mine, big collections, that I go to their place and see stuff they've got. And I'm the same when I'm at their place. I'm opening up tubs going, what is this? Like,
Yeah.
why have you been hiding this from me? And that's out there all over the place. So if you can unlock some of those places, someone like yourself can probably get into a lot of these breeders to do a few shows. You're not a risk
But the
to
thing is,
anybody.
you say that like it's like a lot of times you work with animals and you get so dulled down to what you don't realize that a lot of the stuff that you see every day, a lot of other people have never seen. A lot of people have never seen stuff like some of the stuff that you showed us tonight. Like fantastic snakes. I didn't even know that they end up looking like that. So it's great. I really appreciate you showing us that, mate.
And like you say, polygenics. Like you look at different people's lines of the same thing. They're totally different animals. Different colors,
Yeah.
different markings. So it's good. It's good that you can get out there and expose some of that for all of us to see. Like there's a
That
lot of good stuff out there. Like we've just got to share it.
I would call that that one that you showed us with that zebra one that caramelly looking thing that you showed us with freaky zebra thing that we think is I would call that, it looks like almost like a cheetah pattern on it. It's got that those little round circles like a leopard almost. Beautiful.
Yep. Almost
Okay.
little ocelots.
Yeah, like an ocelot. We'll give it some fancy name, fake moth, There we go. So thank you, folks, for watching. There's quite a few people still watching. I'm surprised, and we'll probably get a lot of traction now because the haters will only come in afterwards because you can't see them watch the show. When you're live, you can see who's popping in to see, and I'm sure there's a few people that's watching that they want to know that I'm watching. So enjoy your night, enjoy the week, and yeah, mate. Thank you very much, and folks, we'll let you know next time when we're live. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you. Cheers, mate.
Good night.